Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're talking about markers. The good news is we have a ton of them. The bad news is we have a ton of them. And sometimes it's hard to see what they look like on steel or on wood. I'm going to try to demonstrate that to you today. I want to talk about markers. So we have two different types of markers, or two main categories of markers. Lumber crayons, and then what we call here is a paint stick. To start with the lumber crayons, we really have two of them in stock here. One's going to be a Marker and the other one's a Dixon. I'm going to show you the difference between both of these on, again, wood and metal. So I'm going to start with the Dixon mark, and then go on to the Marker. As you can see, just a color preference. They both perform about the same, and there's really not a whole lot difference between the two, just preference. So moving on, now we're going to talk about the paint sticks, quote unquote. Marker is kind of the prominent name in the business. And to start off, this is going to be a basic Marker B, and it's just basically your economy yellow marker. Marker E, which stands for even brighter. And again, I'm going to make my mark here so you can see kind of the difference between the two. It is a little bit brighter or even brighter. Marker F, that's going to be the same marker with a little bit of fluorescent pigment in there. And that's if you want it to show up really well. Again, these do take a few hours to fully dry. Pretty weatherproof, but what you're going to notice is they will, even though it is quote unquote a marker, it still will smudge. The final paint stick is going to be the Sakura, everyone calls it something different. These things are from Japan, and they are basically a lipstick type of a cylinder here. These are the bee's knees right here. You pay for them, but they work really well. So I'm going to make a mark for you with the Sakura. It's a very smooth, not as heavy as either one of these, very clean line here. This is, again, the Sakura marker. Moving on from that, we're going to go to our standard paint markers. This is going to have some type of paint inside the tube. It's going to have some sort of agitator in there where you got to shake it up. And our most popular is going to be the hub mark. This one's already been primed. I'm going to go ahead and take it out and show you. On this end, there's going to be a chisel tip, and then this is going to be more of a standard point tip. Shake it up. You're going to have to press it against your surface for a few seconds to get the paint to start flowing. Very clean line. These do dry fairly quick as well. Next is going to be the doctor mark. So this is another marker that's semi-permanent. So what that means is it's going to come off with, say, Windex, dish soap, something like that. But rain, your standard snow, that sort of thing, that's not going to remove it. You will have to use a detergent, and I'm going to demonstrate that here. The Galbart marker. This is a marker designed to come off in hot dip galvanizing process. So in other words, it's going to stay on through the rain, stay on through the snow. Nothing's going to remove it except high pH environment. So hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, that sort of thing, that'll remove it. All right. The last three are going to be some sort of ballpoint pen. So if this is basically a canister of paint, it's got a primer on the back of it. You prime this thing up, you pressurize it, and then it's got a ballpoint on there. The paint in here is extremely sticky. It will stick to anything. It'll cut through grease. It'll go on wet. It doesn't care. It does take a little bit of time to dry. I'll show you that right here. Not a very precise mark, but it is a very visible mark. This would be the Tex pen, by the way. Next would be the Dallow industrial paint marker. Again, I'm going to pump it a few times on the back end. It's got a ballpoint on the top. Make sure I got my mark. Again, ballpoint there, thick coat of paint, and again, it takes a little bit of time for it to dry, it really does. Last thing is basically, it's basically a jar of paint with a ballpoint on the top. And you're gonna have a squeezable can of paint, so there's no pressurizing it, with a ballpoint on that end. I'm gonna do my best to do this. This is really meant for flat surfaces, but for demonstration, I'm gonna show you this. Okay, you can see that. Hope this helps you decide what marker is best for your application. Signing off, I'm Bennett Lacey.